Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2022 NFL Draft preview of sorts. Team needs, what we're looking for. Remember to smash the like button for the episode. You tell me in the comment section who the Jets and Chargers are going to draft in the first round. That's 2 picks for the Jets as well. Sub to Mayo Media Network. Leave a rating and review. Here to talk about all of this, guest number 1, fan of the Los Angeles Chargers, Geoff Fienberg, and with no picks in the first round, head coach of the Miami Dolphins, new head coach, Mike McDaniels, although I believe he is going by the name Garion Thorne for the moment, although I know the difference. You guys are the same guy, aren't you?
Yeah. Just don't tell anybody. It really sort of it messes up the whole mystique of the situation, you know?
Geoff, you feeling good about a Chargers team that just is picking from a place of glory at this point where, hey, anyone you take is just going to make you better?
Listen, it's draft week. I'm super excited. You get to get a player. I wish I had 5 first-round picks. I start to do research. I start to like so many players, but 17 seems like a good spot. But the pressure is on. There's no more time to lollygag. No.
Well, to give us the alternative perspective on what is going to happen in the NFL draft, he is furiously writing notes as we speak. His name is Tim ANDERCUST.
Tim ANDERCUST.
That is not my name.
Good timing on that one. That was good. You're getting good at this. Being in studio. How you feeling about the Jets' chances? What do they have? 5 and 10? 4 and 10?
4 and 10. Oh, well, I mean, I hope we trade them because we'll just blow them if we make the picks.
So this is your new thing now. You're just down talking the Jets?
Being realistic, they haven't made the playoffs in over 10 years. I mean, look, Jeff's team is loaded, and they can't even come close to making the playoffs. So why would my team that has far less talent have any chance to make the playoffs? If a team with, Terrell Owens 2.0, Mike Williams, and Justin Herbert, who apparently is the greatest quarterback since John Elway, if they can't even manage to make the playoffs in a 17-game season, what hope do I have? So what does it matter what picks we have?
Let's get this out of the way. The Chargers are far and away the team that Tim Anderson is saying has no chance. Like, of any team with double-digit win totals, with a Super Bowl odd, flirting around 20, with a third guy on the MVP tout board, with 3 defensive players under 30-1 on Defensive Player of the Year. Of any team in that situation, Tim is saying the Chargers will far and away be the worst. It is a great opportunity for the Chargers then.
I mean, it's a pretty reasonable assumption since they underperform every single
year.
Yeah,
but you pick them every year.
I've picked them in the past. I'm not picking. I've learned my lesson. This team has star players who play half their games, and they have other great players who don't do anything in big moments, and a coach who I don't think is fit for the job. So I'm sorry that I don't think the Chargers haven't made the playoffs in a couple of years and haven't really been dominant. Anyway, I just don't have any faith in them.
This is the same case you made for the Bengals last year, by the way.
Yeah.
After picking them every year except for last year.
Yeah, fair enough. But, the difference is Joe Burrow's a legit star.
And Herbert's not?
Herbert may be a star, but Burrow had shown it in college by, winning a national championship and having the greatest statistical season a college QB had ever had. As good as Herbert had been in Oregon, he had never been as good as Burrow and hadn't won anything.
Well, how come that doesn't apply to Tua?
Tua won a national championship by walking on the field at halftime, didn't get his team there. I'm supposed to be very impressed by Tua.
You're putting rocket fuel on my team. Like, you have to understand what you are doing.
I think your team is the most overrated team in the NFL.
That might be possible. That might be possible. But you'd give your nuts to have a Super Bowl odd like I have, a win total like I have, an MVP potential player like I have. And they probably will disappoint me, but guess what? I'm excited for that feeling of disappointment.
Well, I know all too well what a feeling of disappointment is like when you've been given something and then it gets cruelly snatched away from you.
Jeff, the Chargers pick at 17. We did the mock draft that's up on Mayo Media Network right now. Myself, Ray Garvin, and Thor Nystrom from NBC. So you can scroll through that. Obviously, a mock draft is not going to be correct, despite what you say, being able to accurately predict 32 of 32 picks in a mock draft and then failing to release them to the public. But either way, 17, what do you hope that the Chargers do?
I'll be brief because I'd rather talk about the Jets and Dolphins. And I think the Chargers have a pretty solid roster. At 17, the draft just falls to us. There's no the most immediate need would be right tackle. Then potentially followed by defensive tackle. That's something they took care of in free agency. The luxury pick would be wide receiver. That's an easy dot to connect. Every team now thinks we need 3 receivers, the price of receivers. The Chargers are now paying Keenan and Mike Williams. Why not get a guy in making nothing? And if he's productive, if you hit on a first-round receiver, you're getting almost $22 million in production from go. That would be a luxury. Right tackle, probably biggest need. If that defensive tackle from Georgia falls, Staley would love a big athletic defensive tackle, but I think I'm getting socks or underwear, Pat. Socks or underwear. Right tackle, defensive tackle.
Hey, that's not a bad thing when you're an adult. Getting some more new socks, getting some new underwears. When my aunt,
it's
when
not
my aunt
flashy new bike.
Yeah, when my aunt would come over when I was 8 and give me socks, you'd be seeing me be like, "What the fuck?" Because I used to swear as a child because I'm raised in.
If you give a child clothes for a present. That's not like a sports jersey or a team that a kid asked for. That is the most egregious aunt, uncle, grandparent move you can. Clothes do not count as presents. Just because you needed to go to Carter's for 4 hours and buy everything, that doesn't mean that's a present.
Garion, we've heard a lot from you. What's the worst gift you've ever received?
This question. I don't know. Probably underwear or socks. Honestly, it's not original, but it does suck.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great news on that front. All right, so do you have any, do you care what the Chargers do, or are you just living in your own world right now of bliss of what your team is doing?
No, I obviously care what the Chargers are doing. Look, I don't really care too much. I'm not losing sleep over the fact that I guess for now, and Geoff presented this scenario many times, but for the next 15 years or however long Justin Herbert.
Shout out James Herbert.
I mean,
shout out our college classmate James Herbert.
Yeah.
Now at CBS Sports.
I mean, you've seen him in the playoffs so many times. It's hard to forget his name, right?
But for however long Justin Herbert is going to be fantastic, the Dolphins are just going to be constantly reminded they did not draft Justin Herbert. And it's going to be a little annoying, sure. But yeah, look, I think the Chargers are a fantastic team. I think they're loaded on both sides of the ball. And I'm sure Geoff would agree, this is the year they actually have to get it done. You only get so much leash with this kind of stuff. And year 3 of a quarterback contract is starting to get towards the end of that rookie QB contract. So, this is a massive year for the Chargers, but I don't think I'm really breaking news there.
But do you root for the Chargers to fail because the Dolphins could have been in this situation?
No, I wouldn't say so. I definitely wanted Tua. I think I might feel different if I was incredibly pro Herbert that draft night. And I will fully admit I wanted Tua. I really thought he was going to be the next big quarterback, and I was sorely mistaken. I've come to grips with that. It's less I'm mad that the Chargers are doing well and more just I don't need people in my mentions, or I don't need people reminding me that Justin Herbert could have been a Dolphin. Just like I don't need people reminding me that the Dolphins chose Dante Culpepper over Drew Brees. I'm very fully aware of all the things the Dolphins have done wrong, specifically with the quarterback position in the last 2.5 decades.
The entire Tua conversation is different if Herbert is not good or just average, or mediocre. Right? Everything changed in the Tua conversation and how people perceive him because of how good Herbert has been. And in some ways, that's really unfair. If Tua was in last year's class, he wouldn't have been maligned like he was being in the previous one.
And you certainly
you're a victim of circumstance. I mean, look, I think Mac Jones is probably a better quarterback than Tua, but Like, Mac Jones gets talked about as like, oh my God, he was the best quarterback of his rookie class. And it's like, yeah, his advanced statistics were pretty much a mirror of Tua's. So you're subject to what draft class you were part of, and sucks for Tua that he happened to be drafted with probably two of the best quarterback prospects we've seen in the last 10 years.
Tim, would you be as magnanimous as Garion to be like, look, sometimes stuff doesn't break my way. I'm not going to root against anybody. It doesn't sound like you.
I would be less magnanimous than Garion, but more magnanimous in the way Geoff treats the New York Giants between 2003 and 2018. So I'd be like the happy medium in between.
Very different.
Because it happened to you.
Listen, in some full circle way, I feel like God is giving me my mental midget revenge on the Giants at the moment. But that would be too inside baseball for me to break down.
Yeah, they won Super Bowls. You have a team that doesn't make the playoffs. It's really balancing out
for them. You keep like holding Herbert not making the playoffs.
Last year I do.
30th worst third down defense. They gave up like the 28th most points. He did all he could. Go watch the last 5 minutes of that Raider game again and then come back and insult Justin Herbert, you psycho.
Strong words.
Garion, we'll get to you here. The Dolphins have no first-round picks, but they've done some stuff in the offseason.
Yeah.
Tim is stretching right now. He's looking pretty pained over here. He has told me previously, because we were talking about Deebo Samuel and how the Jets are most definitely going to trade for him.
No, that's not what I said.
According to Tim.
That is not
and that
true.
Deebo is so much better than Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. Are those your words?
I said if I had to choose between the three of them, I would choose Samuel. I think he's the best of the three. I'd have been happy with either Hill or Adams, too. They're obviously very good players. But the opportunity we have for the Jets, maybe, is to acquire a receiver who's slightly better and maybe pay a little less. So, I don't know. To me, that's progress.
Oh, boy. Talking about being magnanimous and kind of like admitting our mistakes. I cannot wait. Like right now in Tim's brain, he's realizing that he's got the perfect storm of a take. If Tyreek Hill is bad this season because of Tua, it combines two of his favorite things, which is a guy who passed on the Jets with hating Tua. He cannot wait for the possibility of this happening. It is going to dominate his brain. If, let's say Tyreek has like 2 catches for 18 yards in week 1 for the Dolphins, he will not shut up about this point, and I guarantee that.
What if that just happens in the first half, and then Tim takes to Twitter to victory lap, and then Hill ends up with 3 touchdowns and 200 yards? Because that sounds like a more plausible thing.
Tyreek Hill is not an explosive player like that who could just score a bunch of touchdowns on long plays.
Well, he is when he's got a quarterback who can throw the ball forwards towards the line of scrimmage. Great. You know what? He chose to go to a place where they don't have any quarterback play. Sure. Okay. You know what? Enjoy. I hope the best for you. Go enjoy Miami.
What are the thoughts of Tua? Because last year with like most improved, Pat, the market was so saturated. Dak was a huge favorite. And then obviously Burrow was like, whoa, if it's not Dak, it's got to be Burrow. And you probably thought because he's a Cowboy, Dak would just get it. But this one seems a lot weirder. And I think Tua, you could make a case, like, would he potentially with a good year be eligible?
Yeah, but it's not an award. Yeah, but it's not most improved player. It's comeback player of the year.
Yeah, what's he coming back from? Being bad? Like, if he's good, it'll be because McDaniel did a good job.
That's it. No credit to him?
No. Look what McDaniel
did.
I
think
Look what he did with
we're probably in a more likely scenario where, like, if the Dolphins do well enough where Tua could be considered for comeback player of the year, Mike McDaniel probably just wins coach of the year.
It'll be like when the Rams got to the Super Bowl with Goff and they couldn't wait to offload him afterwards. So.
Just made that comparison earlier. I hate that we have the same thought process on this.
So, yeah, if Miami is really good, everyone will attribute the left tackle, the new receiver, the head coach, the defense that Flores left over, but Tua won't get the credit. You almost feel like, I don't want to say feel bad for him, but it feels like as much as they've improved the situation, they've set it up where, like, he can't win.
Yeah, he actually, it feels like he cannot win. Like, you're absolutely right. If they're good, none of the credit will go to him, and if they're bad, all of the blame will be put on him.
I mean, he's a quarterback. I'm sorry. Can you take a little criticism?
I mean, yes, you can take the criticism, but if he does well, it's not anything to do with him.
No, the change will have been the coach.
And Garion even has said this to me off air in the sense that he could be good And the Dolphins could still look at the market and be like, no, should still upgrade. Like, even if he's good, that will potentially not silence. We can get a quarterback who can throw the guy in stride at 7 yards and 2 yards upfield, but there's got to be quarterbacks who can do that and make, those big plays that if you're going to win in the AFC, if you're going to go to the Super Bowl, like what sort of run you have to go on in the playoffs.
Better have a Mike
Williams. In some
Williams.
ways, it's like the Bengals avoided the run or the Titans being the number 1 seed in a weird way. Like, I don't know, but it doesn't feel like that run is possible again to be able to play 2 playoff games in the AFC without playing a high-end elite quarterback like the Bengals path of last year.
No, I think like Tim sort of alluded to, my example of this is essentially those Jared Goff Rams. I mean, I think this is a situation where even if Tua leads a team where he wins a playoff game, I think we probably reach a point where, again, through really no fault of his own, like quarterbacks are blamed for wins and losses in the playoffs. So if they lose in the playoffs, if they make the playoffs, that'll be enough. That one game will be enough to be like, well, we gave him the chance. We gave him the team. He can't get there. And the NFL was kind of a little bit behind the NBA in this sort of like player empowerment era, but quarterbacks are just going to be on the move. Like, I think this is a thing where every single season you're going to have guys who could just be looking for a new environment. And a lot of those guys grew up in South Florida. Like, would it be crazy if you start hearing like Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray to the Dolphins? Like the next cycle of quarterbacks to come through who are going to be displaced by something they perceive that they don't like about their current team, it's coming. And I say this as generally a fan of Toronto sports teams. The Dolphins are the one team I like that have the advantage of location. You've got the tax breaks in Miami. You've got the weather. I mean, people want to play in Miami. They might not want to play for the Dolphins, but they might overlook that because of Miami.
Player empowerment in the NFL seems like the Dolphins will be able to benefit more than any team in the league in that respect. But to the other point, Tua wins his wild card weekend game, and then he loses a round 2 game to a Mahomes or Josh Allen. Be like, well, we got to get a new quarterback because he's not Josh Allen. Like, but
I think it'd be different if it was still the same. Like, I guess Greer's still there, the GM. But I think the fact that the infrastructure has already kind of changed with Flores, new coach in, like, I think it's a very easy like. That wasn't his quarterback anyway for McDaniel. He's looking for something new, and they'll go try to find their Matt Stafford, whoever that might be.
The Dolphins, that is not going to be – I'm pretty sure the Chargers play them next year, but if I'm a fan of any team, like, I'll just be looking at that Dolphin game on the schedule. Like, I don't like that matchup. Like, I don't like it. They seem like what they've created there has an opportunity to be – like annoying, but good for them in the same way that I've said many times. I bet San Francisco to win the Super Bowl last year. So obviously, like, a part of me respects that style of play and being able to get lightning in a bottle with it.
They're like a sports car that's been perfectly assembled, except it doesn't have an alternator or whatever the most central part of the engine is. Like, it doesn't have a quarterback who can really play. So it is limited in an AFC that is so stacked. It's just too limited, and the talent is just not there.
Well, they have 2 free wins on the schedule.
Again, that's fair.
But, okay, Garion, do you think Tua is good?
No, I don't.
Really? You don't think that there is a scenario where year 1, he deals with a hip injury, and he's not at 100%, gets thrown in when he wasn't supposed to play, but plays through it anyway. Year 2... no offensive line. They've given him everything now. Would it be the craziest thing in the world that all of a sudden he's just good?
No, look, I think there's a scenario where Tua plays well this year. But again, I guess I wasn't when I said that he won't get the credit from people, maybe I was thinly veiling that he won't get the credit from me. I just think that if he does well this season, it's a byproduct of the skill around him. It's a byproduct of the system. Like, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo's good. Like, I think this is the way I've been thinking about it is essentially a Mike McDaniel hire or a Mike McDaniel offense. They are training wheels for a quarterback. I mean, they are going to try to prop Tua up this season. And again, you almost feel bad for him because, like you were saying, Pat, it almost is like there's no scenario where he actually is acknowledged for success this season. Even if he does well, it's just because of the system. But I think that to be the case. Now, if he has a great season and turns this into a situation where we can even discuss him having won or deserving to be the quarterback in year 4, that's incredible. I'd probably be very happy with that result. But again, I just think there's going to be so many opportunities for this team. I think the Dolphins might even look at 2022 secretly the same way they looked at the 2022 draft, saying, hey, let's just kind of push this back to 2023 when we've got our 2 first-round picks and all that draft capital anyway. This is just a team now that is perfectly constructed to lure a quarterback who wants out of their current situation. And I think even if Tua is good, if Kyler Murray comes up to them in the offseason and is like, I want to play for you guys, I don't think they're going to stop and say, nah, Tua was okay last season. And I just think they're going to be presented with one of those situations.
Let's get to the main event here. You got a lot of notes written down. I assume they're all Jets related?
No, just I know you're going to ask me about the Jets and the players that I want, and I just want to make sure I
okay, who are the players that you want at number 4 for the Jets?
I want Sauce Gardner most of all. I just think he's a marvelous cornerback. He has the potential to be a shutdown corner, and in the NFL, I mean, I'm not convinced as much that Thibodeaux is the shutdown, the pass rusher. Like, I think he's good.
Did you even know what position he plays?
What did you say again?
What did you just pronounce his name as?
So rad? Thibodeaux?
It's a King of the Hill reference, Thibodeau.
You don't need to explain things.
I think I have to explain that one.
Explaining things ruins the funny.
I don't think anybody got that reference.
I think people who watch King of the Hill would. You can email him at sorad at AOL.com.
No, I mean, as much as Thibodeau has potential, he's, to me, not a surefire defensive end, edge rusher, whatever you want to call him. Gardner is a shutdown corner, and I just think that those are having that position is so valuable and so important that is who I want most of all.
Okay, who do you want at number 10?
At that point, I'm hoping that Javonte Williams is on the board because that's who I want at receiver. Who cares about this year? The Jets are not going to be good. The AFC is stacked. Oh, he's not going to play till November? And so what? He's lightning quick. He played great at Alabama. He's a very talented receiver. I think there's value. If he were 100% healthy, he'd be the first receiver off the board. There's tremendous value taking him at 10. So if we don't trade number 10 for Samuel, which I kind of think may happen, but if we don't trade number 10 for Samuel, I want Williams or Garrett Wilson. I do not want anything to do with Drake London.
Why?
I don't think he's. I've been grinding the tape.
Grinding tape, have you? Please tell us the tape that you've been grinding. What have you been watching?
YouTube highlights.
Okay,
that's what I have, and I just
you can find more than that if you want.
He just hasn't been as impressive to me. Someone's going to take him, but I just don't think the USC prospect is who we need right now. We've had enough USC guys who haven't panned out, so I'm
like Keyshawn Johnson.
Well, to be fair, he was the first overall pick in the draft, so he kind of didn't pan out. Whether it be him or Sanchez or Darnold or what's his name, the pass rusher, Hamilton.
Williams?
Yeah, Williams. Leonard Williams. He didn't work out that well. So, anyway, and I just think skill set wise, I think Garrett Wilson and Javonte Williams just bring more to the table. So I do not.
His name's not Javonte.
How do you properly pronounce it?
Is it like Jameson?
Is it
what
Jameson?
Is it?
I thought it was Javonte. I'm sorry. So Jameson Williams. Great. This is the Becton situation all over again. Great. Anyway,
you mean they didn't draft Becky?
Williams is the
Aunt Becky isn't playing for the Jets right now?
Williams is the player that look. I am not a draft expert. I don't pretend to be a draft expert.
You said you were going to go 32 for 32 in the mock draft.
You just said you're grinding tape.
Well, I'm watching highlight videos of players that I like.
Do they ever include bad highlights?
Not usually. And that I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Olave?
Olave.
He seems like an interesting player as well, but I don't think he's going to go that high. So
I think
that's what
Jameson Williams would be a great
Javonte Williams.
I don't know why I wrote.
They're going to get him.
It starts with a J. I wrote it down wrong.
I just think in the sense that if you're the Jets, like if he was healthy, he'd be the clear first receiver off the board. If you're the Jets, you're not thinking about winning the Super Bowl this year. If the guy's healthy mid-October, mid-November.
Yes, that's like an echo in here. That's exactly what I said, yeah.
Not taking the number one receiver.
Williams is the number one receiver healthy, and the Jets have nothing to lose, so to take him if he's there.
Garion, the Jets spent a second-round pick on a receiver 2 years ago. They spent a second-round pick on a receiver last year, I believe.
Which was a home run.
And it's already a home run.
I don't think anybody
And they went out in
Elijah
free
Moore
agency and spent a bunch of money on Corey Davis. This has all happened within the past 13 months. But now they need to go with the number 10 pick overall and draft another receiver? Is this what I'm hearing?
Well, I mean, you only add to the bomb squad, right?
The number one rated wide receiving core by you in football the past 2 years needs more talent.
I don't think I ever said number one.
You called them a bomb squad.
Well, yeah, I did say that.
What happened to Mimsy?
He's awful. He's just awful.
Well, I thought he was Michael Thomas 2.0.
No, well, it ended up being Elijah Moore. Well, he is like Michael Thomas in that they both
Wasn't
don't
he like
play.
a Lamborghini the garage?
Yes, and it's staying in the garage apparently.
It's funny because you did just compare a team's receiving core to a very polished sports car. Which team was that?
I think I referred to Miami as that.
Yeah,
I know where you're going with this, and that's fine. So that's my view. There has been some rumors that they might go offensive line and take Neal.
But they have Becky.
Well, they have Becton, and they have Elijah, who they took last year to be a guard. So we just invested 2 high first-round picks in offensive line. I don't know if that's where we need to go with it, but I mean, again, it's like eating your vegetables. If they make the pick, that's fine. I won't be upset about it. But
your head coach got his job because of his amazing defensive line in San Francisco. I assume that's what he wants.
I think he wants the best player on the board. And I think Gardner is so much better than any other defensive back. Better than any other corner. I think Kyle Hamilton's a marvelous defensive back. But best corner on the board is Gardner. And the guy just has it, if you know what I mean. Like, you watch him, he just jumps off the screen.
Had you ever seen him play before you watch a YouTube highlight?
A little bit of college football. But he just jumps off the screen. And so I think that's the way the Jets should
Notre Dame this year, Pat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a great player, and it's who I want.
So what do we hope happens as a collective here, minus Tim, of what happens to the Jets? Do we have any fun predictions? Like the crappiest players they can get? Oh, Paul has one.
Who does Tim not want?
Drake London.
Drake London?
Yeah, I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, talking to the microphone.
Who do you not want at 4? Because Drake London's not going at 4.
I don't want Thibodeau.
You don't?
I don't want him. No.
Why?
I just don't think he's the game changer.
Why don't you think
4.
that?
I think I have flashbacks of the Jets taking so many potential edge rushers, whether it be Vernon Golson or whether it be Leonard Williams, or just the list goes on and on. I mean, Dwayne Robinson was more of a defensive tackle than he was an edge rusher, but still, we get these guys on the defensive line, and they just aren't what I want them to be. And the Jets have a much better history in cultivating good cornerback play. And so that is sort of where I'd like to see them go. And I value a cornerback a ton. And so I think the skills translate easier to the NFL, and that's what I want.
As expressed on the mock draft show, Jeff, is that with Saleh there, he's running a defense that is not necessarily corner agnostic, but should be able to operate without the presence of an elite corner. That would lead me towards edge. Wouldn't it lead you that way?
Yeah, as I said, I mean, just having a great defensive line is sort of what got Saleh to this position. I'm sure how he envisioned when he got the job was finding a way to recreate that. If and when the Jets do draft Thibodeau, Tim will pretend like we'll do Twitter cartwheels. We'll be woo, like he'll do a complete reversal on this. He'll say, "We got the guy that was mocked first overall 9 months ago. Yeah, woo! We got the guy first overall in the Christmas mock or in the Thanksgiving mock. That's who we got. So great value. Woo!"
Do we have any idea? Like, I don't know what sort of like video footage ESPN's got stored away, but do we know who has a video of them like pulling a truck with their teeth or something?
Like Jack LaLanne.
If the Jets draft that guy, maybe he jumps out of 2 pools.
Is there a way that we can parlay Thibodeau at 4, London at 10 together? Like, what would that pay? Can DraftKings Sportsbook open that up for me, Garion, where I can just bet on that?
A Tim line? I'll run it at the flagpole, see what I can get done.
Yeah, well, I always see that like other books run like the Pat McAfee special. Can we have the Tim ANDERCUST special? This is the bet. It's like 400 to 1 or something.
But you know how much money they would stand to lose, considering they know what the ANDERCUST is?
I suppose maybe the people in charge of these promos don't know about the ANDERCUST. I'm sure they're not watching the show right now.
Possible.
Yeah, they just go by true probability, not ANDERCUST probability.
Dream scenario, like it's never going to happen. But you asked me like what I would want the Jets to do it for. It's drafting Malik Willis, just them fully admitting that Zach Wilson is terrible and they're already bailing.
They pull a Josh Rosen.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to suck up to Tim, but Zach Wilson might be a monster.
Oh yeah, just like you thought all those years that Sam Darnold was the monster, and every year, Pat,
Yeah, but-
Pat, you don't see the plays that I see,
The progress that
the plays
we saw.
that I see
The
on
progress.
tape. You can't tell me, Pat,
The
that Sam Darnold isn't going to be the best quarterback in
Sam
football.
Darnold, for a quarterback to be in his position,
People
of all
are now
the-
calling you the skinny Sam Darnold.
Listen, for a guy to be where he is, like, he had ceiling, like, way more ceiling plays than I ever saw, in my opinion, from, I'm not making, like, Trubisky, like, other guys watch it, like, he had ceiling plays, so I got excited
The
about him.
second
And you're
half
right, in the
from
same
Wilson
vein-
was so much better than
in-
the first half. So
in the same vein, Zach Wilson has some ceiling plays on tape that make me think he could be
The throw he
amazing.
made
I've been fooled before.
in the
I've
Titans
been
game,
fooled
you
before.
just can't. It's very few people can also make that throw.
But how come he can't make the throws to the guy standing 2 feet in front of him?
He got better as the year went on. He stopped turning the ball over.
He's very good.
There's lots to be hopeful for.
You need
which
to
is-
get him more
like-
receivers, though. You have to get him more help because he can't do it himself.
Yes,
right?
he does. He cannot do it himself.
In the same way, like I would make this reference maybe when I bet an outright golfer who I shouldn't be betting on because I believe in them, like Zach Wilson might suck and flame out, but I've seen enough to think that there's a real ceiling. Now he has to stay healthy because I'd hate for Tim to have an injury-prone young quarterback. That would lead to
No, that's
content for
great.
me.
That's great news for Tim because then he can
Mike
display
White-
going into next year how great he is.
Well, we also have Mike White as a backup, who's a legit, probably best
what
backup.
happened?
yeah, you have
what
Breeze
happened-
and Rivers,
yeah,
right?
what happened to
Breeze
the
and
first round
Rivers?
pick that they were going to get for Mike White in the offseason?
They didn't get it. Instead, they kept him, and he's the
and
best backup.
re-signed Flacco.
And he's the best backup in football.
The best backup in football.
What Mike White can do, I don't know how many other backups can do it.
Bills fan Paul, you wanted to chime in?
Jeff, can you just remind the people who your second favorite team is?
My 32nd favorite team, because the Chargers rank 1 through 31, but I do have a soft spot for the Jets, just going back to like their great Monday night football wins versus the Dolphins when I was in my formidable years.
Oh, I hated that game.
There's lots of them. Which one?
Bad game.
Well, who won the 2-touchdown Ted Ginn game?
The Dolphins won that game.
That was a good game. That was in 2009.
Thanksgiving night.
See, there we go, Garion. Happy memories of the Dolphins
Was a
doing
better
something
game,
well.
that one, yeah.
Number one.
I don't have a
Great
second
memories of
favorite
Ted
team.
Ginn, don't worry.
Well, I think that the number one outcome that we have in this draft is that the Jets package 4 and 10 together and trade for Tua.
Sure. Sure. Wouldn't that be fun?
I would. How would that work if Tua was just on the Jets as their quarterback? Would that be the ultimate dream scenario for this show, or would it be Tua going to the Chargers for some reason?
Yeah, to be the backup.
No,
I was going to
it's
say,
starter.
I think Tua's a better backup than Mike White, so that would probably crash some dreams.
But he's the best backup of all time.
Mike White's a really good backup. The guy's a star. His jersey is in the Hall of Fame from his performance
Sounds pretty good.
when he beat the Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl.
What are you trying to imply with that weird?
Just
So
that-
did Joe Hurt. So did Justin Herbert. It crushed the Bengals on the road,
Yeah.
and he's a loser who can't make the playoffs.
I never
according
said
to
he
you.
was a loser. I just said he hasn't made the playoffs yet, which I don't know. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, I keep telling you to speak into the
No.
microphone. You don't do that.
I am speaking. To
You're not speaking. Look where I am
I
sitting.
can't hunch over
You
here
can-
like that.
Yeah, you can.
Bad for your posture.
You don't have good posture.
I have fantastic.
You
posture.
don't have good posture.
I've won awards for my posture.
Really?
Least cussed posture.
Okay,
That's
that-
the most. That's
a
the
lie.
biggest lie.
Yeah,
you've
that's a
ever
lie.
given.
That's a lie. I was just trying to win the argument. That's a lie.
Is that how you win arguments? By just outright lying? What other awards have you won, sir? Please regale us with
No,
these tales.
I don't want to play this game.
All right. Any bold predictions for this draft of anything happening beforehand? Not necessarily pertaining to your guys' teams. So not releasing this till Wednesday, so I'm curious.
It's gonna get. We're gonna have one or two crazy things, and maybe even in the draft day rumors of it. I don't see why the craziness of the offseason will stop on the historically one of the more crazier nights of the NFL
My
offseason.
crazy prediction is will actually be quite a dour and uninteresting night because the draft board is the least exciting of the last few years. That it actually will be pretty much to form, and it won't be that exciting.
Gary,
Yeah, but once a quarterback goes unexpected, it just pops everything. Like
We'll see.
Detroit goes there's so many angles where it could just Steelers trade up for a quarterback.
You're right. It could happen.
Tim, it's only interesting based on quarterbacks, really.
Usually, or like highly touted running backs and receivers.
And the
People get
fantasy
excited for it.
aspect, the fantasy angle will be going nuts with how the receivers
definitely.
fit. And then I'm sure, as your great show with Radcliffe, Pat, it's fun. The running backs, they're a day 2, day 3 conversation. But, although guys, a nobody instantly becomes a guy you can't wait to potentially own in fantasy. So.
Paul, are you excited that the Bills might go running back, or do you want them to do something else?
They're smart. They'll do what's best. I feel pretty good about that.
That's the sort of answer that you should have, Tim. That way you don't bake yourself into a corner when they draft the guy that you don't want.
Well, but you asked me to give my unvarnished and true opinion. So
I
I've
also
given it.
asked
But
you to
it's
talk into the
also-
microphone, and you don't do that.
Yeah, I do.
It's not fair because, Buffalo picks at a place where the board just has to fall to them.
Well, that's it,
If the
right?
Chargers picked 4 and 10, I would have definitive opinions on who I wanted. The Chargers picked 17. I'm even it's not a quarterback draft. They picked 17. I hope for Penning or Davis, but the board's just got to fall to them somehow.
Okay, Garion, I'm going to leave you with this because I know you have to go. What would you constitute eating out at a restaurant? Takeout, eating out, regardless. Would you say that if you go to the grocery store and get some chicken tenders or chicken wings or whatever, would you call that eating out?
I mean, I guess in the way that eating out technically means you are not eating at your residence.
But you bring it home.
That's true.
Would that
No,
be would
that-
that would not be takeout in your estimation?
No, that's not takeout.
No,
Okay, it's not takeout.
Hold on.
I win.
I'm not talking about going and buying chicken tenders and making them at home. I'm talking about going to the hot plate, getting them in a box like we used to do at Fantasy.
Okay. Now,
Yeah,
I think there's a definitive...
You know what? If you are not physically making food out of your refrigerator, if you have gone somewhere to buy it, I guess it doesn't matter where you've bought it. It would be takeout.
There we go.
I disagree. I got it at a grocery store. That's not eating out. That's me purchasing food at a grocery store
Hold
and
on.
eating it at home.
You have changed your stance now from that to if I eat it at the grocery store, it's not takeout. But if I eat it in my car, it is. Your words.
Yeah, if I take it home and eat it, it's not takeout. If I eat it at the grocery store, it is takeout.
It's all takeout.
I have a demarcation mark on this one.
Okay.
If you go to the grocery store and you buy groceries while also getting some hot table, not takeout.
I made that
But if you
exact
literally-
point. I made that
if you walk
exact
into the
That
point.
doesn't make
grocery store-
any sense.
Thank you, Jeff. I made that
If
exact
you walk
point.
into the grocery store and it's a one-stop hot table purchase,
Okay. That I would agree
What about
with.
what about an IKEA's or a
Yeah, that's takeout.
what's the
No,
That's
when you
that's
ask-
fat. You go get a hot dog at IKEA.
No.
You really?
Like Jeff said, and I agree with him. If you go to the grocery store and you only get chicken wings, you know what? That's eating out.
But how does it
But if
change
you
anything?
go to the grocery store and
How-
you buy your
it's just
milk,
how I feel about
yeah,
it.
no, I
Hey,
feel
you
100% the
fat
same.
guy.
100% the same way.
That
Thank
doesn't
you.
make any sense. You're buying the same product.
No,
That
but-
is a pure level of insanity.
No, it's
I'm
the
not
same
here
way.
to make sense, and I
What are you doing?
have to
I mean-
blur it?
Oh, this is gonna turn into
I'm an idiot.
Oh,
Wow, we're gonna have to bleep that out.
really?
No, you have to cut it more than bleep it.
No, you throw up the bars and then people wonder what he said.
Yeah, this is just gonna reflect poorly on Jeff, I think.
Anyway, thank you for backing up my point, Jeff. That if you go to the grocery store and you
So-
buy groceries,
so if you-
but you also get some chicken tenders to take home, that's not eating out. Thank you. That was my position as well.
So the
It
position
only
is, I can go order something that is fast food and takeout, but if I also purchase something else, it's no longer that.
It's
thing.
about the intent.
No, it's
If
not
you
about
buy
the
it
intent. It's
with
about
a-
the fucking food.
It's
This
about
is
the-
what crazy people say.
It's about the
to say
intent.
that they're not eating out.
If you-
This is how people who eat out too much justify eating out.
First, too much. That's very judgmental. Second,
No one is. I don't
Tim,
think Pat's
Tim,
wrong. I don't
Tim,
think
if you
Pat's
were-
wrong. I don't
let's
think
say
Pat's
you-
wrong.
Tim,
And I disagree.
Tim, if you were to go to Costco, where literally their hot food counter they don't even try to disguise it. It's literally just a restaurant at the end of the grocery store. Like, if you bought all of this stuff from Costco and then you picked up a slice of pizza on the way out, that's not eating out?
No.
So if you went to Walmart and bought things but stopped at McDonald's and Walmart, is that no longer taking out?
That's a separate
Why is that a
restaurant.
separate thing? It's the same fucking thing.
Because it's not Walmart, it's McDonald's.
If I go to the grocery store, buy a bag of chips, like amongst all my purchases, crack the bag of chips, am I eating out?
No, of course not.
Like, I agree with you, Pat. Like, I agree. And I agree
It's all about intent.
that I am not well.
But the intent
Like,
is that you want to
agree.
eat fast food, so you did.
No,
Yeah.
if
And now
you-
you've bought other stuff with it, so you don't feel bad about yourself.
Well, if
Yeah,
you,
yeah, fat people, we justify eating this shit
no,
all
but this
the
is a
time.
justification.
What is it then?
If you're going to the grocery store to buy groceries and you also pick up a pack of chicken tenders and eat them when you get home, you went to the grocery store to purchase groceries. You didn't go there to buy a hot lunch. So the hot counter purchase is not eating out. If you just went there on your lunch break just to buy chicken tenders and then went home with it, then that's eating out.
I will give you this, although this also is a contradiction, like Geoff said. If you buy something that isn't deep fried, I could figure that out.
So a sandwich. If I went and got
Yeah.
a chicken salad sandwich at Sobeys on my way out,
I would say that is no longer eating out. That's something you've now
'Cause I was
bought.
gonna
'Cause you
say,
can-
like,
because you can
Fair
get that in
point,
your
Pat. Good point.
because you can't deep
I
fry
feel
shit at
differently
home.
about it if you're picking up a salad at like at the deli. Like,
Yeah,
so I would. There is a perception that this is just like because it's an unhealthy thing.
so that's your hang up, is that if it's an unhealthy thing that you pick up at the grocery
Yeah, but it's something that you can't make it. So the
store, I can
sandwich.
make a salad at home.
Sure, you can make the salad at home, but you can put that salad in the fridge for 4 days and still be the same salad. You can't make anything deep fried at home. You have to go out to get it.
Well, you can.
Can you?
I can't, no.
So,
But I still don't. I think there are people who would still be very upset with your position, who would think that you're being too permissive.
Very upset.
think anyone's gonna be
This became a very contested argument that a group of us had, and they would say that you're selling out.
I'm
That no-
selling out?
Yeah, that
I'm a sellout?
That buying a chicken salad sandwich at the grocery store and taking it home is eating out.
I mean, I wouldn't do it anyway, so I'm never going to be doing
Well,
these
grocery
things.
stores actually have some of the best food you will buy.
That's not even really true. If you really want to get a great cut of meat, you don't go to the fucking grocery store. You go to the butcher.
Can I just ask, like, why you care? Like, I'm curious, where are you coming at this from? Like,
Well,
is
I
the
bet
reason
people
you
like to
say it's
judge.
not takeout?
People
You like to
saying-
judge. You're the same person who calls people plebs for not using the right spoon to eat fucking caviar.
People judge and they say, "Oh, you go out to eat too often," and I was like, "Well, I don't think that's true."
Yeah,
And then there's a whole debate as to what constitutes eating out.
this is eating out. This is you trying to get at. This is you making a
In
weird
that
argument.
debate, you ate out. In
No.
that like context of it, that's an eating.
Yeah,
So if
because
I
if you're
pick up-
just trying to make yourself feel better about eating
Yeah,
shitty,
exactly.
like, why are we even doing this? You're definitely just eating shitty.
No,
It doesn't matter what we call it.
So then it's only bad food that counts in this argument. And like I said, I think there are people who would say,
But that's
even
why
good
you
food-
care. You care because it's bad food. You don't care because it's a salad. So that the root of this argument is that you're just trying to put you're basically trying to rebrand your own unhealthy eating.
Just like when you got the McCaesar and said it was a healthy snack.
Well, it was like the grilled
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, because it was
just
grilled.
like when you drive home from Pat's place after another depressing Jets loss, and you feel like you've earned that McDonald's, pal.
That has happened.
Is that a healthy
I know.
McDonald's though? Because it makes you feel better.
No. Those are unhealthy ones. That's give me the double cheeseburger with an extra slice of cheese, extra McChicken sauce, and hold the ketchup.
All right. That will do it on the draft preview show and health food advice with Tim, who doesn't really know whether it's eating out, eating in, but hey, maybe we've settled this argument. I want to hear from you down in the comment section on Twitter. I want to thank Garion and Geoff. We just recorded the Custies, and Geoff tried to give away some of the results because he's very. I mean, I'll edit that part out too then. But
It's all my fault. It's all my fault, and I'm really sorry.
Well, sometimes that's what happened. Thanks you guys for being on. It's been a while since Garion's been on the show.
It's been a while.
Cheers to
Very,
Garion.
very happy to be back. I will always come back for the Custies.
We might need to hit you with a Cust Corner here because I got topics I've been writing them down for 6 months of weird stuff that you've said. Mainly hella skiing, but either way, that's beside the point.
Hella skiing.
Ridiculous.
It's
not
easy.
that hard. You
It's
just jump
easy
out.
stuff if you've never
Just
skied before.
jump.
Just a jump. Yeah,
You
just like
just
falling from
jump.
space.
Just jump.
Big proponent of gravity doing a lot of your work, eh?
Well, I mean,
The funny part is-
I don't want to spoil too much of the Custies, but he did cite Isaac Newton during that show about why he can do certain things as it pertains to, I believe, surfing.
Yeah, it's all gravity. It's all just gravity. I bet you I could spur lunk too. I always thought I'd be good at that.
Really?
Again, it's just jumping down and rappelling the wire into a cave.
You don't have a wire.
Well, you would get one to rappel.
No. You can put on a parachute, pal. For real spelunking.
I'm not going to do that.
How would you get to the top of the cave? Think you could rock climb too?
I don't. I mean, I always thought I could free climb, but then I found out what that was. I realized I couldn't do it. So I don't know. Gondola?
right. For Tim, for Garion, for Geoff, I'm Pat Mayo. Smash the like and hit whatever the fuck I said during the comment section to help us rig the algorithm. It's been a long day for us. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!